Good evening, Logan. We've got another big astrological event ahead of us this week with Saturn going into Aries on Friday the 13th. Ooh! Other than that, it's not the wildest week I've seen in the stars, though as I shared in the last forecast, we do have plenty of tumultuous astrology to look forward to in the last couple weeks of February. So remember, folks, try to catch your breath now and get your ducks in a row if you can, while you can, before shit hits the fan, okay? So, we're starting off the week today on Monday, February 9th, with the moon moving from Scorpio into adventurous, optimistic Sagittarius late tonight or actually early tomorrow morning if you're not here with me on the west coast of the US. Then early tomorrow, Tuesday, February 10th, the main event is a sentimental one with the planet Venus moving into the zodiac sign of Pisces. Now, in traditional astrology, Venus is considered exalted in Pisces. This isn't the home sign that it rules, but Venus is said to do well here in the sign of the fishes. Because Venus is the relational planet, and now it's entering the sign of boundless empathy and compassion, collective emotions, dreams, creative visions, and intuitive spiritual connection. So the next month or so of having Venus in Pisces is a great time to make art or create something. It's a great time to devote to your spiritual practice. It's a great time to act from a place of empathy and compassion for others. And it's a great time to explore your more emotional side and your relationships with other people, romantic or otherwise. The pitfalls to watch out for here, though, are Piscean illusions and delusions in Venusian areas like relationships and finances, for example. So the key here is to dream and connect with intention rather than falling into the trap of escapism and avoidance. Because you see, Venus wants to be balanced and comfortable and pleasant, and Pisces has this tendency to get overwhelmed and want to numb out and dissociate, so you might see where that could potentially go wrong. It's also very important to set and hold kind but firm boundaries in these areas during this Piscean time. Because remember, Mercury is also in Pisces, the Sun is following along next week, and there's just a lot of Piscean energy on the horizon right now. Moving on here to Wednesday, February 11th, this day brings us another tender transit with the Sun at 23 degrees of Aquarius forming a sextile to Chiron at 23 degrees of Aries. As usual, with Chiron the wounded healer, Wednesday evening may have us feeling a little more sensitive than usual, but a stimulating sextile here brings us the opportunity to engage in some healing. Now that might look like energy work or embodiment practices. That might look like connecting with that solar courage to shine your light and share your gifts with the world. That might look like healing around your self-image, your identity, and who you truly, authentically are. So this transit is a lovely little opportunity for some deprogramming and deconditioning here amidst the revolutionary time that is Aquarius season. Then on Thursday, February 12th, the moon moves into mature, hardworking Capricorn. And then we have Friday, February 13th, which is one of those days that astrologers have been looking forward to for a while, because the planet Saturn is crossing that cusp from Pisces into Aries, completing a 29-year lap around the zodiac. Woohoo! So this is a rebirth. It's a new beginning for Saturn. And as I've shared, this is made even more significant by the fact that Neptune did this exact same thing a couple weeks ago. And now we're building toward that very important Saturn-Neptune conjunction happening here at 0 degrees of Aries next week. And just an FYI for you, this isn't actually the first time that this has happened in recent memory because Saturn did dip its toes into Aries last spring. Oh my goodness, I remember how much energy I suddenly had access to when Saturn went into Aries. But then it retrograded and went back into Pisces again. So right now, we're kind of feeling that fatigue of Saturn being at the very fishtail end of Pisces, at the very end of its long journey around the zodiac. But Friday is significant because at that point, Saturn will solidly be in Aries for the next 2 years and 2 months approximately. Now, Saturn is the planet of time, aging, maturity, and integrity. It's the wise elder archetype. This is the planet of boundaries, limits, and restrictions. It's the planet of responsibility and accountability, of structure, legacy, and tradition. This is the part of you that has a mission, that wants to contribute something to the community and to the collective. This is the planet of focus and self-discipline and hard work. that allows us to do difficult and challenging things. Saturn is the planet of reality, okay? And if you want to do a deeper dive on lovely Saturn, go check out the Focused on Infinity podcast episode that Logan and I did about this planet back in March of last year. So now Saturn is entering Aries, the sign of the warrior, the sign of bravery, will, and determination, of freedom and independence, of conflict and war, among other things. This transit is about focused courage. It's about strategic action. It's about rising to the challenges of reality that are all around us at this point. This is about being at a crossroads, needing to make decisions, to lead, to take risks, to be present in the here and now. This means that it's really time to commit to action, to acting on our values, to building the world that we want to live in and the legacy that we want to leave behind, a reality where we can all survive and thrive. It's time to face the consequences that have been preventing us from taking action, from fighting for what we believe in, and also to face the consequences that will inevitably happen if we don't fight that good fight, right? Now, I also want to take a brief moment here to speak about Saturn returns, which y'all may be familiar with. These Saturn cycles are famous portals of maturation for us as individual people. They're times when we transition between phases of our lives, occurring at approximately ages 30, 60, and 90, which are big birthdays, right? So if you have your natal Saturn in Pisces, congratulations, your Saturn return is now officially over. It'll take some time for the dust to settle, but when it does, you'll realize that you're a completely fucking different person than you were a few years ago. And now you can take stock of what has cleared out of your life and what or who has had the longevity to stay in it through your Saturn return. But if you have your Saturn in Aries, that means that your Saturn return has now started in earnest. So the next couple of years will be full of maturational lessons for you. Saturn will push people and things out of your life that are not aligned with who you're becoming. Listen, this is famously not an easy time, but it is a very important one. And whatever the universe is bringing to you now, you are, by definition, ready to face it. So heed Saturn's wake-up call, and I promise you'll be glad that you did. All right, let's glance at Saturday, February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, I guess, whatever. But late that evening, the moon moves into authentic revolutionary Aquarius. And do remember that we have a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, as well as Lunar New Year, coming up soon on Tuesday the 17th. So button your britches and hold on to your hats for that one, folks. Then we're finishing off the week here on Sunday, February 15th, with the sun at 27.5 degrees of Aquarius, forming a square to Uranus and Taurus. Now, if you've been feeling kind of shitty and dysregulated over the past week, like I have, that may be because of the squares that Mercury and Venus have been forming to Uranus, as I discussed in last week's forecast. So Sunday may be another challenging day as the sun now repeats this aspect, this relationship to Uranus, which is the planet of suddenness that can jolt and shock and shake us awake. Uranus can quickly transform things and turn them upside down. It can push us towards isolation, alienation, and dissociation if we get overwhelmed and feel like it's all just too much. So that is definitely a risk this week. This transit can really confront our values and our stubborn habits. It can really challenge our egos and the ways that we see ourselves, the ways that we behave in the world. It can bring us the gift of self-knowledge, but probably in a pretty uncomfortable way. Having the sun in Aquarius squaring Uranus can also potentially bring up friction in groups, networks, and communities. Sunday may not be the easiest day for those of y'all who are doing leftist organizing, for example. So just try to find and remember ways to get grounded throughout this transit. Know that this particular storm will pass. Try to pay attention to whatever news might suddenly come through, but to resist urgency culture in processing and acting on it. And let's remember that the goal of both Uranus and the sign Aquarius that it rules is to help us deprogram from the toxic overculture and align with greater authenticity in ourselves and in the world. It's all about exploration, innovation, and liberation, folks. So this week is kind of a mixed bag of transits as we're preparing for upcoming eclipses, conjunctions, and retrogrades. That's all for this week's Astrological Weather Report. I'm Alice Pope. Logan, back to you.